Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the channel for yet another installment in our new figure showcase series. And for those of you joining us for the first time or who haven't joined in a while, this is just a series of videos I do to take a look at a recent addition into the collection. And more often than not, it will be a newer release, although there are exceptions here and there. So I'm actually pretty excited for today's video. We're going to be taking a look at the Hot Toys Iron Patriot based on their new Marvel comic line. And again, right, there's just no... This is not based on the MCU. It is based on the comic line, and that's what the box essentially designates it as. But what is interesting, and where I give Hot Toys a lot of credit with this line, and it's how they got me, is that they basically used MCU style figures and MCU style armor that they've done previously to give us this comic line. Instead of going the more animated approach or the more kind of illustrated approach, they definitely went with the more realistic style that we've seen from other die-cast Iron Man suits. Now, I don't know exactly which components are from which Iron Man, but look, that was the appealing thing. And I, for myself, have resisted buying a lot of these variant armors, but this is a new character that we haven't seen in the MCU that has made an appearance in the comics as Norman Osborn wearing the armor, right? He does include that Captain America shield, which is a great accessory that, yes, he doesn't need, but it just gives him a visual flair. So that's how Hot Toys got me, essentially. They got me by appealing to my love of Marvel and giving me a figure that will fit in perfectly with the MCU collection. Now, taking a look at what Hot Toys is giving us here, again, not much. You get some variable armor elements. You get a different swap out chest plate, which we'll see on the figure. You get some different hand and then some different exposed, essentially, weapon elements. You do get the Iron Man shield, and then you do get this display stand, which we're starting to see a lot, and it does have a light up feature, which we'll also see, but very bare bones overall. Now, let's start with the accessories, and we'll take a look at the hands. If you're a Marvel collector, if you're an Iron Man diecast collector, these won't be new to you. Some of these are already pre-posed in the kind of repulsor blast effect pose with the fingers splayed out, and the other ones are fully articulated digits, which we've gotten essentially with pretty much every Iron Man figure to date, so those aren't new. As far as the paint applications, there is something very nice about that silver matching the red, and there is some good detail work here. Now, you are also getting the chest armor, the variable with the triangular as opposed to the star. Now, this is just a blue plate. I do have to admit that while it looks good and it's got good detail, it is plastic. That red star arc reactor chest plate does look pretty amazing, and I'll be hard pressed to swap this one out for that. Then you get swappable, basically exposed missiles for the arms, for the forearms. The detail on these is again phenomenal. These are just swappable, magnetically affixed, and they do have some pegs in them to allow you to replace them. And then you can basically see the inner workings as the rocket pops out of the gauntlet. Now, on the shoulders, you do have these pods that open to reveal the inner missiles as well. So again, these you just basically replace them magnetically and swap them in with the other shoulder pieces. So nothing crazy, and it's stuff we've seen before, but it just looks really nicely done, and there's a lot of detail work here. Now, as far as the shield, what is surprising here is that it is a plastic shield. It is not a die-cast shield, which we've seen before with some of the Captain America figures. Part of me is guessing this was done to keep the weight down overall. Now, as far as the detail work on it, if you've gotten a Captain America figure, this is not going to be new to you. Paint apps are nicely done with that red, silver, and blue. Now, on the back, you do see that we don't have any straps, right? This is magnetic, which is very reminiscent of the Captain America shield from Age of Ultron, but a slightly different mechanism. But still pretty cool and makes sense with this Iron Patriot figure that we're getting. Now, as far as the base, you can see that it does light up. You do have to plug it in. And look, it looks fine. Just for me, it does take up some space, and I don't know that it's required with this figure. It will give you something a little bit extra, but I just not sure that it's completely necessary. But the light up feature is nice. It's not the brightest either, which is kind of interesting, but it is what it is. Now, as far as the sculpt or the helmet here, because you don't get a sculpt, it would have been great to get a Norman Osborn one, but whatever. You know, the helmet looks great, right? There's a lot of detail work. It looks very clean. It looks very much like an Iron Man helmet. Although I do like the pointed red that basically comes down the forehead. It reminds me very much of Norman Osborn from the comics with the Widow's Peak. So I do think that's kind of a nice little throwaway and throw in there. And there is a nice kind of look to the helmet overall with that silver and red, as well as the detailing. Now, the rest of the armor, look, this is a beautiful figure, right? There's just no denying them. The red, the silver, and the blue, it just really does pop in a way that, and we've seen it before, right? This is not the first Iron Patriot figure. It is the first Norman Osborn figure we've gotten, but we've seen this kind of color combination before with the Rhodey suits, the Iron Patriot suits, even the one from Avengers Endgame. So not a new color combination, but the way it's done just really looks great, creating that kind of flag motif down his abdomen, and again that star chest armor plate just really does have a nice visual pop to it. And again, the detail work on these suits, if you've never had one of these, and I'm sure if you have, you're aware of what I'm about to say, which is the engineering on these is phenomenal, right? What Hot Toys has done here, especially when you compare it to some of their earlier Iron Man figures, the plastic ones that came out originally that we all loved at the time, the amount of work that has gone into these is just impressive. Now look, there are light up features here for the armor as well that do require a ton of button cell batteries, and you can see that in the box that they've got the disclaimer for the batteries. That's now pretty much standard for Hot Toys. I didn't even bother putting those in. That is the one annoying thing. You've got to put in batteries everywhere on the chest, for the helmet, for the legs, for the arms. It just doesn't pay off, right? And they barely last anyway, so I just saved myself a little bit of a hassle. But they're there. There is a light up feature there. And look, I do think the figure poses great. It's a beautiful figure. The shield maybe makes no sense to some of us because he is in an armored suit, right, that's going to protect him. So does he need the shield? Absolutely not. But it does give him such a great style. And this was very limited. So I'm glad that I got the opportunity to pick him up. I think it's adding another character into the Marvel collection. And look, yeah, for Hot Toys, it means that they were able to get me to essentially pick up a variant that's never been in the movies, but they did something smart. And if they continue to do this with other armored figures or other figures in general or other characters, we're seeing it with Agent Venom, with their Doctor Doom from the comic line, they're going to start getting me, right? It's a great, for a Marvel fan, it's a great way to flesh out that collection with figures that will fit in with an MCU collection. So kudos to Hot Toys for this. And look, if you've ever had an Iron Man armor in hand, right, these are beautiful pieces. I mean, there is a weight to them because of the die cast that just impresses, and what you can do with these is just stunning. So again, not a figure that necessarily is going to appeal to everybody, but if you are a Marvel fan, if you are an MCU collector, this figure will fit in nicely with that collection. It will fit in perfectly, and it just visually looks stunning. So for me, very, very happy to have the opportunity to have him. He looks awesome, and I just can't wait to see where this line goes from Hot Toys. So let me know your thoughts, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll touch base on the next video.